Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to debrief the race of the European Championships over in Vichy. So standard distance race, age group 25 to 29, which I qualified for last year, and eventually the race came around and was on the 22nd of September 2024, Vichy, France, which is about 3 hours south of Paris. In a beautiful town in France. So I headed out to Vichy on the Wednesday with my dad, who kindly drove me all the way from Cheshire to Vichy, not without its slight dramas. For those in the know will know what those were, but for those that don't, I'll probably leave it out of this channel. Anyway, it made us look for some last minute accommodation in Vichy, which we eventually sorted on the night before on the way over, where we stopped over in Arras. So we arrived into Vichy with the dogs in tow on the Thursday evening. And I'd started the taper from the Sunday previously. So pretty much a week's taper, doing I think I did 5 gentle runs in the week, ranging from 8 to 12k or so. And felt like anything in the taper, you feel reasonable. But sometimes you feel a little bit lethargic, which I did on the Saturday, but I woke up on the Sunday, which was race morning, and felt pretty good. I'd managed to actually sleep the night before, which I didn't think I would, so that was great. Got probably 7 hours in the night before, so way more than I thought, and I was feeling pretty well rested. My girlfriend and my mum both flew out on the Saturday to join us, so that was brilliant to have their support there. And certainly when they arrived, that definitely calmed me down. I was beginning to get far too excited, far too early, so them arriving certainly took my mind off it, and really helped me get into that prep. The forecast for Sunday was absolutely dreadful all week. Forecast thunderstorms, and I kept on looking through the race rules, and if there was lightning, then they have to call the event off. So that was really worrying leading into it. But eventually the day rolled around. There were no thunderstorms, but it was absolutely leathering it down on the bike, and kind of dried up on the run, and was quite windy as well. So it led to a pretty interesting conditions in Vichy. The day prior had been the sprint distance race and the elite race, and I'll overlay some footage of the elite race now. Absolutely crazy watching that live, the pace that they take those corners. It was, to be fair on them, it was beautiful. It was dry, the roads were nice and dry, and they were able to whiz around with no issues and no crashes. But that wasn't quite the case on the Sunday, where it was different mustard. The bike course was treacherous. There were a lot of people that went down. But anyway, we'll start from the beginning, which was the swim in the Lalia. Probably apologies for the pronunciation there, but the swim course was essentially swimming upstream for about 600 meters, then across, and then downstream and across back to very near the pontoon where you started. So it was a start. You actually started in the water from the pontoon, in your age group category. So there was supposed to be 31 starters, but in fact there were only 29. So I'll overlay the footage now of the start. So really professional start, crazy, and yeah, straight into it, and wow, it was very competitive straight from the off. Very physical in that first probably 200-300 meters. and eventually it strung out, and I was pushed to the back, and I felt like I swam reasonably well for the first probably 600 meters up until that top turn point. I felt like I was swimming pretty strongly. I then turned, and there was one person just straight in front of me, so I was like, right, okay, get on their feet and swim it back with them. And it was at that point that I don't know what it was, but my stomach just went, and I felt so sick, and spent the rest of the swim concentrating on not being sick. I don't know what it was. Possibly nutrition beforehand. Afternoon race, had eaten more. I ate a banana before the race, which I'd never done before. It was around a lunchtime kickoff, and I hadn't had lunch, so I was a wee bit hungry. So I just scoffed a banana before the start, and maybe I was a bit nervous as well. So maybe that played into it. I had been struggling in the lead up as well with a lot of my pool sessions, that I would actually inhale air while swimming, just due to poor breathing technique. But I don't think it was that, because the symptoms did ease eventually when I got onto the bike. But in that swim, coming back was horrendous. My splits were slower going downstream than they were upstream. I just basically blew up. I couldn't sustain. My stroke went to absolute pot because I was concentrating on trying not to be sick. But anyway, we got it done, and the splits coming back were fairly atrocious considering it was downstream. And I think I'll overlay now some footage that my parents took of the Labradors swimming, and Gertie is a notoriously terrible swimmer, and they sent it to me saying Gertie making light work of the swim. I don't think that was a particular compliment to me in the way that I swam the second part of it, but hey ho, there we go. So into transition for first time, so I swam a 29 minute something, which is it's really poor for me. Poor even for me in the swim. Having swum 26 minutes at one of the qualifiers earlier this year, I was really hoping that I'd swim 25, and I don't know what I'm capable of because that wasn't a realistic swim. But onto the bike, and I was so flustered from the swim that I've had an absolute shocker getting onto the bike. It was so wet, it was absolutely hammering it down. I couldn't clip in, and I ended up looking down at my pedals, and the next thing I know, I'd flipping gone into a lamppost. So I quickly shut myself off and got back on, and we were away. And I spent the first 10 minutes of the bike sort of composing myself, not going all out. It was very technical course. Lots of twist and turning coming out of town, and then straight into a headwind going out, and round lots of roundabouts. So I composed myself and then got together a good ride in the end. Started to feel good coming up the hill at 15k, and then descended okay, didn't go all out, and then coming back felt strong, felt new position, felt pretty aerodynamic. And in the really heavy rain, I'll definitely take that bike split of 1 hour 14, because that's kind of put me mid-pack for that age group in the bike splits, and it definitely pushed me. I probably overtook 5 or 6 people in my age group on the bike, so definitely put me back into sort of the mid-pack that I was hoping for. Came into T2 off the bike, and struggled to get my run shoes on because again it was so wet and I hadn't practiced transition in the wet. So got out onto the run course, and again felt first K actually. I was like, wow, I've actually got run legs. but unfortunately that soon did come to an end about 3-4k in. But it was interesting. New position on the bike, lower seat post, more quad dominant rather than calf dominant on the bike. Certainly helped my legs feel like they could run, because I definitely pushed it reasonably hard on the bike. And then onto the run. Started first, I think the first split was 3:43, and I was hoping to sustain 3:40s, but ended up being 3:50s. And to be honest, to run a 37-minute, I was slightly short on the course, but 30 odd 10k, it was that's pretty good for me off the bike. I know I'd been doing a lot of running and training, but I was still reasonably happy with that. The course was not all on tarmac either. There was a lot of gravelly sections, and the gravel actually got into, obviously standard distance, wasn't wearing socks, as I don't think anyone was really, and got into the arch on my feet, and was wearing away the arch on my foot, and that was pretty uncomfortable for the last 5k, but we got it done. And it was so nice on the run course, not gonna lie. I had my girlfriend there, Kate, had my dad there, the dogs were there, I had my mum, all cheering me on at different points on the course, and it was absolutely fantastic. One of the best experiences of my life, although it was hurting quite a lot, as you can probably see by some of the videos that I've overlaid. It was quite funny with a kilometre. In the first lap when I saw my mum, it was at the 4k point, and she said, "Oh, see you again in 5k." I was like, "Oh, that is not what you want to hear at the 4k point. Thanks, Mum." But bless her. And then with the second time I saw her was obviously 9k with 1k to go, and she said, "Oh, we'll race you in." And I just thought, then, blimey, I hope Kate doesn't actually race me in, because the form she's in at the moment, she would have absolutely gunned me in that last kilometre. So bless her, she didn't she didn't run past me and overtake me to put me to embarrass me, but there we go. So finished it off, finished 17th in age group. So I was hoping to finish mid-pack, and that's what it was at the end of the day. That was mid-pack finish in my age group at the European Champs, first attempt. So absolutely chuffed. Just a huge shout out to the family, to mum, dad, and obviously the support along the way from my girlfriend was absolutely incredible, and it means a hell of a lot to me, so thank you very much. And then just a final shout out to Cargill, actually, who helped sponsor me for the event, so I really appreciate that. That was the climax. What a weekend, what an experience. Some of those boys out front is absolutely different kettle of fish. They're absolutely outstanding performances. Their swimming ability is just far superior. And the thing that surprised me the most, actually, was their running. I thought that in the triathlon world, at least, I was a fairly competent runner, and wouldn't be miles away, but blimey, those top lads were running 33 minutes for the 10k off the bike, 32 minutes I think one of them ran, that's serious numbers. That probably PBs of 30 minutes if they were just running a 10k. So I know where I need to be at to be competitive at these events, and it's still a long way away, but it was a fantastic experience, and loved every minute. The plan now is to go straight into a marathon training block. for fortunately only a couple of weeks, because the marathon is on the 27th of October in Venice. So can't wait for that. And I've got 2 half marathons before that, one at Congleton, just a local one, and then Manchester half. So hoping to go sub 80 in one of those 2, if not both. That's always been the target from the start of the year, was to run a sub 80-minute half, and I still haven't done that. And the marathon, I don't know what the target is there. Probably, well, it's sub 3. But I haven't trained for those kind of distances, so we'll see, and I'll certainly let you guys know how it goes. Yeah, and finally, thank you very much for tuning in to listen to it. I really appreciate it. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anyone that you might think will find it interesting. So yeah, thanks, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers, bye.